So this question comes from at Yahyar3577, and they said, how much do you weigh and how much can you lift in the bench press, deadlift, and squat? And do you use tricks in your performances? Followed up with at Glenn Ross, UG5JM, and also asking, I like your question. I asked him that, how much can he lift and can he bend and break steel? So I'm going to answer that in this video. So to answer the first question about how much I weigh 163 pounds. I weighed myself earlier this morning in anticipation of filming this video. Now, as far as how much I can lift in the bench press, deadlift, and squat, truth be told, I don't really know. I don't really test my maxes. With the way I approach training, I know that if my training numbers improve, then my 1 repetition maxes will also improve. And I try to keep the volume somewhat consistent, staying within my not really a comfort zone, but staying within my limits in order to expand my limits. Rich Froning, who was like the top CrossFit competitor, had a great way of saying, he's like, where training is about staying within your limits, while competing is about telling your limits to go to hell. I do a similar thing. I train within my limits I stay within my limits in order to expand my limits. And then when I'm on stage performing, I tell my limits to go to hell. Now, as far as when I'm on stage, do I use tricks in my performances? No, I do not. With what I do, there's an implied level of trust between me and my audiences. When I tell my audiences that what they're about to see is real, they have to kind of take my word for it. And if I were to employ a trick, and that is kind of the dark side of strength acts, if I do one trick, then everything might as well be a trick. I've even seen, like if you saw in my sizzle reel, when I held back a motorcycle, you'll notice that there are 2 straps. One strap on one arm is held to an immovable object. In that case, it was a pickup truck. And the other, strap on the other arm, that was attached to a motorcycle. And I needed that one to anchor me in place, because only being 163 pounds, it would pull me across the pavement no matter how strong I am. I did see another strength act hold back a Corvette without that anchor, using it like tug of war style. And that, I called BS on that one, because it doesn't matter how strong you are, the friction coefficient, the physics don't line up, that thing would pull you across the pavement. And I try to stay clear of that sort of thing. I am friends with magicians and mentalists and stuff like that, though, and I do have a great amount of respect for them. That's just not what I do. Now, with Glenn Ross's question about whether or not I can bend and break steel, if you saw the sizzle reel, you saw me bending steel. As far as breaking steel, yes, I have broken steel, and yes, I can break steel. Some of the wrenches that I do on stage, some wrenches, there's variance in materials. Wrenches can be all over the map. Some won't go at all, no matter how hard I go. Some will bend, and some will snap. And when it snaps, well, that's breaking steel. But that depends on the hardness, the brittleness, that sort of thing of the wrench. And it's really hard to predict which ones will do that. I've even had a wrench break in 2 separate places at the same time. That one wasn't on stage, that was in practice. And that one, the middle shot out like a bullet, which is one of the reasons I point the wrench down, just in case that sort of thing might happen again. But anyways, I hope that answers your question. If anybody else has any questions or anything like that, drop it in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you with your very own custom video answering your question. And if you like this video, let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more of this sort of thing, subscribe to the channel. You can also catch the various chronicles from my performances across the country by subscribing to the videos. Also, if you have a question, feel free to check out my other videos. I've answered a lot of questions, and a lot of you seem to have the same questions. But also, if you think anybody should see this, please share it with them. This YouTube thing isn't rocket science. And if you want to support the channel, do all the things that I just mentioned. Or you can also pick up a copy of my book that chronicles my story and how I got into this. Link is in the description below. And if you also want to have a nice, clean cup of coffee, try picking up some Good For You coffee, some coffee from Good For You Coffee Club. It's free from mold and pesticides and all that stuff. And if you do that, use the promo code MyPower10 to save 10% off of your order that you use that for, as well as any additional orders that you happen to use that promo code for. But in the meantime, stay tuned for the next video, and please stay happy, healthy, and strong. Eric Moss, over and out.